Hello and welcome again to the IBDA movement. As we all know that IBDA movement is a youth-led climate-centric community platform which offers virtual climate education and advocacy to youth in the Horn of Africa countries of Eritrea, Somalia, and Ethiopia. The movement will create a dedicated website and use the Zoom platform and the YouTube to educate the youth about the environment and the impact of climate change. The movement will be hosting in-person and online events using mixed media approach, including social media and a podcast to educate the youth about the challenge of climate change and the environment.
Just to tell to our viewers and our listeners, the movement was jointly initiated by me, Ibrahim Buro from Somalia, and my partner and co-principal, Delina Samara from Eritrea. Both of us are alumni of Yali Regional East Africa. We have been cohort 49. We came up with the idea. Wait there a bit. We shall cut off this one.
Why says that my internet connection?
So, dear, I was trying to say the movement was jointly initiated by me, Ibrahim Bro from Somalia, and my partner and co-founder, Delina Samara from Eritrea. Both of us are alumni of Yali Cohort 49. We came up with this idea of the movement after multiple research and baseline survey we carried out across the countries of Somalia, Ethiopia, and Eritrea.
Exactly. And in today's session, we shall be discussing major human activity which leads to climate change in the Horn of African countries of Somalia, Ethiopia, and Eritrea, supporting it with the genuine data and statistics. As you may be aware, climate change is a complex issue that is influenced by a wide range of human activity, natural processes, and external factors. However, some of the major human activity that are contributing to climate change in the Horn of Africa regions, including Somalia, Ethiopia, and Eritrea, are
so number one, obvious, Delina, number one will be deforestation. Deforestation is a major contributor to climate change as it reduces the number of trees that absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. In the Horn of African countries now, deforestation is mainly caused by agricultural expansion, urbanization, and logging. According to Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, the annual deforestation rate in Ethiopia was 140,000 hectares between the year 2010 to the year 2020. That's 10 years time. So the rate was 140,000 hectares between those 10 years, yeah.
And can you tell us the statistics for the deforestation?
So, Delina, for the statistics, are a bit scary. According to the Global Forest Watch, Somalia lost 2.8 million of acres of tree cover between the year 2001 to the year 2020. That's 19 years' time, while Ethiopia lost 7.3 million hectares in the same period of time. So yeah, always statistics are always scary, and something must be done about deforestation in the Horn of African country.
Yeah, we shall be engaging in afforestation instead. And also, Ibrahim, as we know that one of the major human natural activity that has been doing for the climate change is livestock farming, and the livestock sector is a significant contributor to climate change as it is produce a large amount of greenhouse gases such as methane and nitrous oxide. In the Horn of Africa, pastoralism is a common practice, and then livestock farming is a major source of income for many people.
Exactly.
According to the World Bank, the livestock sector in Somalia, Ethiopia, and Eritrea accounts for 40%, 16% and 9% of countries' GDP respectively. And also the statistics shows us that the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO estimated the livestock sector in Ethiopia, Somalia, and Eritrea produces around, for Somalia, which is 68.5 million, Ethiopia 74.2 million, and Eritrea 20.5 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent in 2019, which is major, which is very huge amount of carbon dioxide.
Big number, really, yes.
So, exactly.
So another factor Another human activity which leads to climate change in the Horn of African countries is industrialization activity. One might ask himself how,
Mm-hmm.
because we are still not industrialized region, as we all know. Industrial activities such as manufacturing, mining, and oil and gas exploration also contribute to climate change by emitting greenhouse gases.
Exactly.
You see, Dailina,
Yep.
in the Horn of African country, the industrial sector is still developing, but it's expected to grow rapidly in the coming years. For example, Ethiopia has set a target to become a middle income country by the year 2025, and this will require significant industrialization. Now, just to tell you a little bit of the statistics, according to the Global Carbon Project, Ethiopia's carbon emission from fossil fuel consumption and cement production increased 7.6% by year from the year 2000
Mm-hmm.
to the year 2019. That's 19 years time.
Exactly.
Mm.
That's really
It's a
huge,
big number.
as always. Yeah.
Exactly.
And something that we shouldn't be forgetting about one of the human activity that has been done for decades or for changes or from even millennium, even
Mm.
though if we want to avoid it, but we can't, is transportation.
Exactly.
And as we all know that transportation is another significant contributor to climate change, as it emits large amount of carbon dioxide. And in the
Exactly.
Horn of Africa, road transportation is the most common mode of transportation. I mean, we all know that. And it's
Exactly.
growing rapidly.
Mm.
Yeah. And then according to the International Energy Agency, the transport sector in Ethiopia and Somalia is expected to grow by more than 5% per year between 2020 and 2040.
40
So for
years.
the coming 2 decades, yeah,
Yep.
for the coming 2 decades, we'll be emitting a lot of carbon dioxide, and the transportation would be one of the major contributor as well. And
Yep.
also the statistics shows that the International Energy Agency estimated that Ethiopia road transport energy demand will increase by 6.2% per year between 2020 and 2040, while Somalia will increase by 7.5% per year in the same period. So
Mm.
yeah, man.
Then who can imagine that, that transport emits, greenhouse gases into the air? Yeah, let's continue. So another factor to consider is the energy generation there. The generation of
Mm-hmm.
energy is significant contributor to climate change, and it's often based on fossil fuel such as coal, oil, and gas, which emit large amount of greenhouse gases. In the Horn of African countries now, most of energy is generated from hydropower, but there are also plans to develop other sources such as geothermal and wind power. However, these sources are still in the early stage of development. So now
Exactly.
statistics, the African Energy Outlook in the year 2019 estimated that Ethiopia's energy-related carbon dioxide emission will increase from 7.8 million tons in the year 2018 to 105.3 million tons in the year 2040 if no additional policy are implemented to address climate change. So you see
Oh,
there, it's a big, big, big gap.
our poor planet, it's facing a lot of things.
Exactly.
The other day, the other video we've discussed about the natural thing, the natural
Mm.
activities, and now the human activity on the top. And
More,
then
they're more
Ibrahim,
effective, yeah.
the more, yes, yes. And then we shall not also forget the agricultural practices, as we
Yeah.
know that agricultural practices is one of the major contributor to climate change in the Horn of Africa, as it is responsible for significant portion of greenhouse gas emission and land use changes. In particular, the use of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides can release large amount of nitrogenous oxides, others other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, you know.
Mm. Exactly.
Additionally, change in yes, additionally change in the land use, such as converting the forest or grasslands to the cropland, can lead to loss of carbons sequentially to the potentials. So
Exactly.
And also the data from the World Bank shows that the agriculture sector in Somalia, Ethiopia, and Eritrea, since we are like focusing on this Horn of Africa countries,
Yep.
would be accounted for 60%, for which is for Somalia, and 60% for Ethiopia, and 34% for Eritrea, according to the GDP.
Mm. Yeah,
Uh,
that's also a big gap, and we really need to do something about how we practice agriculture. You see, also another
yeah,
major thing
which
which most people might not know is the urbanization. Do you know how, Delina?
urbanization.
Urbanization. So it's predicted
Please
most of,
enlighten me.
yeah, it's predicted most of us will be living in the urban cities and big towns in the near future. Urbanization
Mm-hmm.
is another significant contributor to climate change in the Horn of African countries, as it leads to
Exactly.
increased energy consumption, transport emission, and changes in the land use. As cities grow, the demand for housing, transport, goods, and other services increases, leading to high level of greenhouse gas emission into the air. Now, according to the data by United Nations, the urban population in Somalia, Ethiopia, and Eritrea is expected to increase by 3.2% for Somalia, 4.1% for Ethiopia, and 3.5% for Eritrea by the year 2030.
Exactly.
Yep.
And like following the urbanization, we also have water management, and also water management has its own impact on the climate change. As it changes, the water availability and quality can affect agricultural productivity, energy generation, and ecosystem. In particular, the construction of dams and reservoir of the hydroelectric power generation can lead to change in rivers flows and water availability downstreams, affecting the livelihoods of local communities. Additionally, poor water management practices such as over excretions of groundwater can lead to land subsidences and other environmental problems. And according to the data of the World Bank, access to improved water source in Somalia, Ethiopia, and Eritrea is 24%, 42%, and 68% respectively.
Mm. Yeah, not just that, Delina. The last point we could try to clarify is waste management. Waste management is often overlooked contributor to climate change in the Horn of African countries,
Mhm.
as poorly managed waste can release large amount of methane and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. In particular,
Exactly.
open dumping and burning of waste can lead to significant emission. Uh, as cans can also decompose of organic waste into landfills. So there, according to the data now that we have, World Bank, the municipal solid waste generated per capita in Somalia, Ethiopia, and Eritrea is 0.5 for Somalia, that is 0.45 for Ethiopia, and 0.6 kgs per day for those countries. So it's a
Exactly.
big thing. So just to finish up this video, there are also additional other human activity that can contribute or which contributes to climate change in the Horn of African countries. And they highlight, the complexity uh, and the nature of this problem. So addressing climate change in the Horn of African country will require a multi-phased approach, especially from the youth, the government, and other stakeholders that can consider all factors that we have mentioned and others that we could not
Exactly.
mention due to time.
Exactly. And also, this thing we have been talking is not petite. It's not. It's something that has everybody has to focus on it and work on it. As me and you, Ibrahim, we started this IBDA movement because we
Exactly.
want to save the planet, and we cannot do it alone. We have to join hands with the youth, since youth are the power, the energetic. So IBDA will definitely uh enlighten you, bring you a lot of activities, and gives you more ideas
Including
about
this,
climate change.
Delina,
So
And soon we shall be starting our
Exactly.
podcast. We shall also be hosting events. We shall also be using, webinars, a lot of activity, both for advocacy
Exactly.
and for education.
Exactly. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in our channel and contents. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media like Facebook and Twitter. So our Twitter is at Ibda Movement, of course, and also Facebook is Ibda Movement. So please let's join hands and you know
And protect
what are we
our
going to do?
and our
Save the world for
and
sure.
save
Save
the
the
world for
planet.
sure.
Our,
Especially our
yes.
region.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Delina.
much for your time, Ibrahim. I'll see you the next video.
Thank you.